Today is Tuesday, January the 12th, 2016. Madam Secretary, if you'd please call the roll.
Ms. Casabon? Mr. Lauren?
Here.
Mr. Richardson?
Here.
Mr. Richard?
Here.
Mr. Willie?
Here.
Mr. Matthews?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Doherty?
Here.
Mr. Drum?
Hi-ho.
Mr. Randolph? Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we would respectfully ask for you to silence all phones and electronic devices. If you wish to appeal any decision by this commission, appeals cards are to our right. If you wish to speak in front of the commission, we respectfully ask that you fill out a speaker's card. Each side will be provided 10 minutes with 5 minutes of rebuttal. And lastly, after each case, if you wish to discuss it further, we would ask that you leave the building as if you go into the back foyer area. It does echo back into the chamber. At this time, I would ask you to stand for an invocation by our counselor, Mike Savant, and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Matthews.
Heavenly Lord, you have said that when two or more gather in your presence, you are with us. We ask you to bless this commission, grant it wisdom and guidance in the decision process it makes this evening. Bless those who have come here to speak with and before the commission. Grant them safe passage back home at the conclusion of the meeting, and may they feel satisfied by the results of this meeting, which we do in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, man. They held out on us. They held out on us, man. How are you, sir? I'll tell you. In our package are the minutes of the December 8th, 2015 meeting. If you had an opportunity to review them, entertain any motions.
Motion to approve is written. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Matthews, second by Commissioner Dougherty to approve as written. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion carries. This is a public hearing. The public is encouraged to speak either for or against any case you may be interested in. Commissioner Matthews?
I opened the agenda for the election of officers.
We have a motion by Commissioner Matthews to amend the agenda to open it for the election of officers. We have a second by Commissioner Richard. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. This time I will take nominations for chairman. Commissioner Richard?
I'd like to nominate Dave Manello as our chair.
Second.
So moved. Second by Commissioner Dougherty. Any further nominees? If not, I close nominations. We have a motion by Commissioner Richard, second by Commissioner Dougherty for Mr. Manello as chairman. Please vote. Motion carries. I thank you for your vote of confidence. This time, I would ask for a motion for vice chair.
Move for Mr. Dougherty as vice chair, please.
Commissioner Matthews nominates Commissioner Dougherty as vice chairman, second by Commissioner Davis. Are there any further nominees? If not, I close the nominations. We have a motion by Commissioner Matthews for Commissioner Dougherty as vice chairman, second by Commissioner Davis. Please vote. Motion carries. Congratulations, Commissioner Dougherty. At this time, we're going to change the agenda to move. One moment, please. Proposed amendments to Ordinance 499. We're going to now place that as the first item on tonight's agenda. It's currently on the agenda on page 3, proposed amendments to Ordinance 499. An ordinance to amend the St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances, Appendix B, Chapter 4 of Subdivisions Regulation Ordinance Number 499, street identification and traffic control signs in order to incorporate updated standards, postponed indefinitely of the September 8th, 2015 meeting. Staff.
This is the street sign identification and traffic control signs to incorporate updated standards outlined in the Manual and Uniform Control Traffic Devices and Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials Roadside Design Guide.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak in favor of this ordinance? Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in opposition of the ordinance? Mr. Hernandez.
Okay. You know, the ordinance, as you well know, I think has improved from when it was first proposed. I still have issues with it based on the fact that, and I'd like the staff to comment on this. For the most part, the homeowners associations are expected to, assuming that we have already signs in place, are expected to continue to pay for the improvements for that, as opposed to, let's say, the parish paying for such improvements. I know there are situations where the parish has paid improvements, and in our case, the parish has provided us with signs. The situation with the subdivision that I live in, we have non-standard poles on here, our green wooden poles that we have, plus wooden borders on our signs, which, according to what is being proposed now, I guess would be okay for the time being, but at some point in time, they need to be replaced in accordance with what's being proposed. And I guess it would be one thing, I guess, if the parish were paying for this, but I believe the homeowners association will be expected to pay for it. And so I guess I would hope that if in fact the new regulations are going to be instituted, that the parish be obligated to pay for these improvements as opposed to the homeowners association for the existing ones. I understand that given the new proposals, new streets, new signage, that the developer, for the most part, is expected to institute these regulations, and I'm sure they are awaiting the final version in order for them to proceed with doing that. I guess it's one thing when the subdivisions are first being built, and now the developer is responsible for these signs. But it's another thing, I think, once we have subdivisions that are 20 years old plus, and now are in the process of looking at replacing signs. And I guess that's the concern that I have, and would hope that there would be some caveat placed in this that would give the or require the parish to pay for these improvements if in fact the homeowners association cannot pay for these at some point. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in opposition or in comment to the ordinance? If not, at this time, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Recent comments by Mr. Hernandez. The
as I understand the proposed ordinance, if a subdivision that has non-standard signs wishes to keep non-standard signs, they can. If they have to be replaced, then it is the subdivision homeowners association that is responsible for paying for that. If the subdivision's homeowners association does not want the non-standard signs, then the parish will put up the standard signs. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so the homeowners association is not obligated to put up to replace their signs. The parish will do it, but they're not going to replace them with non-standard signs.
Correct. We'll replace it with the standard issued parish signs.
You understand that, Carla?
I hear what you're saying, but that's not my understanding as to what takes place now.
Well, that's what's going to take place when this ordinance, and if this ordinance is passed by us and the council. The subdivisions that are what we're calling private subdivisions that have non-standard signs will be able to keep them as long as they replace them when they are required. Public subdivisions that have non-standard signs will also be able to keep them, but they are the responsibility of the homeowners association. If not, then the parish will do it, but they're going to replace them with what they're calling standard, which is not very pretty, but standard signs. So that's up to your every subdivision is going to have to make that choice. If they don't want to pay for the expense of new non-standard signs, which is very expensive, my subdivision has it too, then your choice is to let the parish do it. You may not like what the parish puts up, but that's what the parish will do.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, and Carlo, on another note on that, under the street name and traffic control sign section, it clearly states that all privately maintained traffic controls and signage in subdivisions, planned unit developments, are generally exempt from the requirements of these regulations, except until the replacement of all traffic controls. So if you have a sign or a post that's broken or something like that, you can replace it. Not all of them, though. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So again, you would have to replace that. Your homeowners association would have to replace that. If you can't afford that, then we would be glad to come out there and install one of ours. That's just the way it's written. I mean, so obviously it's to your advantage not to go ahead and get rid of all of them or do one at a time, whatever you want to do. Is that my understanding?
No, that's correct. And currently, if there's a private subdivision that is out of stock of their specialty stop sign, and their stop sign is damaged, we go out and we put a standard parish stop sign out there until they can get their specialty sign. So
That's all. We spent a lot of time on this. I know the staff did a heck of a job on this. I'll make a motion to approve this. Second.
A motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Commissioner Dougherty.
Yes, thank you. And I'm going to direct this to Jay. Under item L, it says that specialty streets, name signs and traffic control and mounting poles, new planned unit developments and traditional neighborhood developments applying for preliminary subdivision approval. Basically, it goes on and says that the homeowners association will pay for the replacement of signs and everything. And my concern, it doesn't say in this ordinance that the in final approval of subdivisions that there be a item in the restrictive covenants that says that the subdivision must have a homeowners association. Now, if you go on over, and Jay pointed this out to me on, let's see, it's right above
Section
item M.
L3.
Jay, repeat that, please.
Section L3.
And again, it's stating that, the developer or the homeowners association or the owner of the subdivision will be responsible for replacing these. But somewhere there needs to be, I think, a comment that they must have a homeowners association in place to do this. And once you have the homeowners association in place, then the homeowners association can put fees in place for all of the homes. But right now, I don't know that we have that capability with this ordinance. I like the ordinance, okay? But I just don't see that we have in here the mechanism for the homeowners associations or the TNDs or whatever is not using the standard signs to maintain and collect the monies to replace these. And there's another question I have. What is a sign blade? Or is that the sign itself that goes on the pole?
Exactly, yeah,
Okay. I thought that's what it was, but
right.
thank you.
Commissioner Davis,
Oh, sorry.
Commissioner Matthews.
We might propose an amendment to this saying that basically any subdivision that wishes to maintain non-standard signs must have a mandatory homeowners association, make that L4.
So L3 is, I mean, it's kind of touching on that, and but it doesn't only say the HOA. It says subdivisions with privately maintained signs shall include on the final subdivision plats an affirmative declaration that the street name signs shall be privately maintained by the developer, the HOA, or other stated owner.
Yeah, but
So,
if you don't require the subdivision to have, from the beginning, to have a mandatory homeowners association, you'll never get a homeowners association, because don't you have to have 100% of the homeowners to agree to have a homeowners association if it's not in the covenants?
I don't know, but if you have a case where you have a developer that proposes a private subdivision with privately, or whatever, just privately maintained signs, and he puts up decorative signs, and then they never establish an HOA, and signs start to deteriorate and need to be replaced, then the parish is just going to go in there and replace them with standard U-channel posts. And if the residents of the subdivision don't like that, then they're free to form an HOA and privately maintain the signage.
I guess that covers it, really.
So-
If you want decorative signs, you have to get your own homeowners association if it's not
Exactly.
already there. Yeah. Okay, that works.
Commissioner Lauren.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, let's look at the wording under Section 3, L3. We're talking about going forward. We're talking about new subdivisions here, not existing subdivisions. And it says for subdivisions that will be privately maintained, that will privately maintain street name signs and traffic control signs, the developer shall include on the final subdivision plats an affirmative declaration that the street names signs and traffic control signs within the subdivision shall be privately maintained by the developer, the homeowners association, or other owner of the subdivision as an affirmative obligation of that person or entity. I think that clearly answers the question.
And I think Jay clarified for Commissioner Matthews, as you said, Commissioner Lauren clarified that if they didn't, then the parish could come in and place the appropriate signs
Correct.
to ensure that they're in compliance to the ordinance and to safety.
Correct.
Good. Commissioner Dougherty.
I think that the subdivisions that I've seen come through that have the unique signage in them, there's generally, and I've asked the question before to the mostly the attorneys, when they come up and ask for final or preliminary, are you going to have a mandatory homeowners association? And the answer has always been affirmative. And I understand what this says, but it doesn't, to me, Pug, it's not saying that you must have a homeowners association. And I know that it could go back to the developer, but as soon as the developer is sold out, they're generally gone. And I don't know what the other owner of the subdivision has an affirmative obligation. I don't know who that would be. And I'm just trying to, I'm going to say, look for the hole and plug the hole so that the people that buy into these unique subdivisions have a maintenance or have a way of collecting the monies to replace the unique signs. That's all my concern is. I've seen too many subdivisions, particularly on the western side, on the eastern side, where the subdivision does not have a mandatory homeowners association, and consequently they cannot collect any fees. There was a lawsuit several years ago that dealt with a subdivision in Lacombe, and it went through the courts and everything, and it takes 100% of the property owners to vote affirmative. If one votes no or doesn't vote, then you can't get mandatory fees in. It has to be done on the front end of the subdivision when it's being developed. So that's where I'm coming from on the thing.
Commissioner Matthews?
I understand Mr. Doherty's concern, and I initially had that same concern, obviously, when I made my comments, my original comments. But I think Jay has made really clear that if the developer has finished the subdivision and he's gone and there's no homeowners association, then it's a very simple solution. If we need new signs, the parish comes in and puts the standard signs in. And if the homeowners don't like that, then they have the opportunity to figure out how they can get together and pay for them. That's the choice. You don't necessarily have to have a mandatory homeowners association. You may be able to get one of the homeowners who is independently wealthy to come up with the money or whatever, But the choice is you find somebody to pay for it, or the parish puts in standard. And that answers the question, I think, anyway.
Are there any further comments by the commission?
I'd like to make one quick comment. There were several of the commission members that were on the committee to work on this, and I'd like to single out Pug Lauren because he was the one that really drove the commission's comments, and he did a yeoman's job on it, and I wanted to thank him for that.
Cheers.
Thank you, Commissioner Lauren. Any further comments? This time we have a motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Please vote. Motion carries. Entering parish right-of-way servitudes and easements. Entering parish right-of-way, Center Bar Street, Ward 8, District 13. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of gaining access to property. The debtor, Laurent Construction Company, Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Michelle Blanchard. Staff?
This enter the right-of-way is specifically for a portion of Bar Street, Beverly Heights Manor subdivision for the purpose of gaining access to property.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in favor of this? Please come to the podium, state your name and address, sir.
Jimmy Laurent. I'm the owner of Laurent Construction Company. I've owned this property since 2001, and now I'm in the process of trying to get access to the property to do something with it. And I would appreciate any help to try and get access to it where I can kind of do something with the property and develop it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, at this time I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Randolph.
Mr. Laurent. I
Pardon?
call him up?
Yes, yes, you may.
Can you share with us what you plan to do with the property?
Well, I plan on doing the houses on Panther Drive, North Shore Lane. I built those houses back in 2002, 3, 4, and I plan on continuing that same, maybe making the lots a little bit larger than, it's lots of record. It's 25-foot lots, 2 lots comprises a home site. And it's mainly for starter homes, give young couples or retirement people a place to a home they can afford, keeping the price affordable, because homeowners, the price of homes have gone out of sight. And that's my plans with it, there's not a lot of lots around there where the people can build smaller houses. And it's in a real good school district, which a lot of people want to move in that area. So that's my plans with it, to develop it and start putting some beginner-sized homes in there.
Okay.
1,100, 1,200, 1,300 square foot homes.
Okay.
Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, a second by Commissioner Randolph. Commissioner Dougherty.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Laurent, the lots that are being developed, and I'm guessing based on this drawing, in Square 10, it's lots 28 through 45.
1 second, let me get my drawing here. And I only own the lots on the left-hand side. Someone else owns the lots on the right-hand side, so if I get the street in, they'll just get a free street to their property. On Square 10, it's going to be all of the lots on the right-hand side. There'll be lots 28 through 45, and then you have a right-of-way for a parish road, street that will probably never go in. And then the lots go from lot 18 to, I think, lot 29.
Okay, that's the way I was reading the drawing that we have here, but I just wanted to confirm that, and you agree to all the terms and conditions that the parish put together and put out?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Matthews.
Is this street going to be gravel, aggregate, paved, what?
It is, because the parish had the street cut in there right at 300 feet, and it was gravel, and it's been like that it was like that when I bought the property. It's been like that forever, and it's just continuing the gravel road.
Okay. For staff, on the items that you've listed here, number 8, there's a performance obligation of $16,000. Is that sufficient to pay to do this?
Yeah, that's in accordance with our ordinance that we have a per linear foot, and they're doing 800 linear feet of aggregate roadway, and that's what it came out to be, is 16,000.
Okay. And then items 13, 14, and 15, are these just boilerplate items? Because the parish owns the right-of-way, so the utility servitude and the copy of the owner's current deed, all of that stuff is the parish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a standard boilerplate.
Okay, so I mean, he's not going to have to get the parish to give him a deed and do these things, since it's parish property. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to have him to try to prove that the parish has a right-of-way.
No,
Okay.
no.
Any further comments by the commission? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Entering parish right-of-way, Orleans Avenue, Ward 4, District 10. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying and connecting a sewer line. The debtor, May Investments, LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Maureen O'Brien. Staff.
This enter the parish right-of-way is specifically the portion of Orleans Avenue located in the town of Mandeville, unincorporated, between Coffee and Carroll for the purpose of laying and connecting sewer line.
Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in favor of this? Please state your name and address.
I'm Philip Church. Address is 56404 Frank Pichon Road. And I represent May Investments. I'm obviously in favor of it. When we bought the property, we were told that, there's a sewer line there. We would have access to it. Turns out it's too deep to really do tap-ins. So, we're wanting to do a shallower line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none at this time, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
One quick question. Staff, having two sewer lines there, one shallow and one deep, is not going to cause any problems?
I don't believe the sewer line that he's talking about is directly underneath where he's proposing to lay a sewer line. I think it was on the other side of Orleans, I believe, and it was too deep to make tap-ins underneath the road.
Okay.
But
As long as we're satisfied that that's not going to be a problem, I move to approve.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Matthews to approve, a second by Commissioner Lauren. Any further comment? Please vote. Motion carries. Entering parish right-of-way, John T. Pratt's Road, Ward 10, District 6. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying fiber optic cable. The debtor, Southern Light LLC, Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Richard Tanner. Staff.
This end of the parish right-of-way is specifically for John T. Pratt's Road for the purpose of laying fiber optic cable.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone representing the entity requesting this?
Yes, us.
If you'd please come to the podium, state your name and address and why you'd like it.
Yes, sir. My name is Donald Cooper. I actually live in Mobile, Alabama. We come here to the council meetings for these meetings for the parish right-of-way. This is solely to lay fiber optic cable to a cell tower that resides right there at the corner of Highway 59 and John Pratt's Road. So that, we're a company that provides communication to the cell tower providers around this area. So that's why we request it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Willie.
I move to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Willie to approve, second by Commissioner Richardson. Commissioner Matthews.
Just one quick question. Gentlemen, would you please come back up? It's, I guess, a little pro forma, but you all don't maintain these and operate the fiber optic cables. You all just put them in?
No, sir. We actually maintain, we protect them, and we operate them.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know, who was going to actually operate them. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Dougherty.
Yes, sir. Question to the gentleman.
Sorry.
You're trying to get away too quick. You have several other items on the agenda. Is it basically the same thing, taking fiber optic to a cell tower, or are there other?
Yes, sir. That is correct. That is the goal for all these.
So y'all are going to operate, maintain and operate the fiber optic on the rest of these items?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Davis.
Will you be removing the old lines going out to the cell tower?
No, sir. Those are actually owned by other companies. So we don't have any rights to do that.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any further comments by the commission? Now we have a motion by Commissioner Willie, a second by Commissioner Richardson to approve. Please vote. Motion carries. Entering parish right-of-way, Coffee Street and Tammany Trace, Ward 4, District 10. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying fiber optic cable. The debtor, Southern Light LLC, Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Maureen O'Brien. Staff.
This enter the parish right-of-way, specifically Coffee Street and Tammany Trace for the purpose of laying fiber optic cables.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? I assume it's for the same reason as the previous?
Yes.
Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I close it to the public. I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty.
I'd move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dougherty to approve, second by Commissioner Matthews. Any further comment? Please vote. Motion carries. Entering Parish right-of-way, DeSoto and 5th Street, Ward 4, District 5. Request to enter Parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying fiber optic cable. The debtor, Southern Light LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Reichert Toledano. Staff?
This enter the parish right-of-way is specifically for DeSoto Street and 5th Street for the purpose of laying fiber optic cable.
Thank you. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak in favor? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Please state your name and address.
Good evening. My name's Cameron Mary. Address is 4021 DeSoto. I own the property that is on the corner of 5th and DeSoto. My only concern is we have a rather sizable live oak tree that is on that corner. Previously, the parish did some maintenance of the ditches surrounding our property and caused sizable disruption in our phone and internet service. We were down for approximately a week after lines were severed. So my concern's twofold. One, the existing telecommunications to my business, and two, the safety of that live oak that's on my property.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in opposition? If the gentleman from Southern Light would come to the podium, please. Mr. Cooper.
Yes, sir. So if I may address his concerns, when we install fiber optic cable, we call in an 811 dig ticket, which causes all other communication companies to locate their facilities. We then work in conjunction with those facilities, the owners of those communication lines or sewer lines, water lines, whatever they may be, to ensure that we don't cause damage. I can't say it never happens, but we have a very good track record of ensuring that it doesn't happen. To his concerns with the tree, we also work in the city of New Orleans and have to work with their arborist all the time around oak trees, so we are very familiar with that as far as staying away, as far away from the drip lines of trees and all that to ensure that there's no damage to the oak as well.
And just for point of clarification,
Please come to the microphone.
the oak tree that we're discussing is quite literally, it is on the corner of the property. Its root system is into that ditch. So, I just wanted to voice my concerns.
Thank
Would
you.
hate to lose that tree. So,
Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
Just for the gentleman from Southern Light again. What's your average depth that you're going to be going down?
So it depends. If we're coming up to a corner, usually somewhere in the 5 to 6 foot range, and we come up to about 3 feet to be able to grab that conduit that we put a fiber optic in, couple it to the next conduit that would be going down into either an adjoining direction or a different direction. So on average, 3 to 6 foot deep.
In this situation where this tree may be, maybe in hindrance of something, I mean, is there any way you could go a little deeper?
Sure, absolutely, yes, sir. If we definitely go, we know trees have roots and all that, so we can definitely go 10 or 12 foot deep. Whatever we find basically in the field to avoid, because not only do we never want to kill a giant oak tree, we know there's also fines in most areas associated with that.
Right.
It's very difficult to drill through a tree, and it damages our property, which can be very costly at the same time.
Well, if you did some in New Orleans, there's a lot of litigation
Oh,
against.
absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further? Commissioner Rand.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Randolph to approve, a second by Commissioner Dougherty. Is there any further comment? Hearing none, please vote. Motion carries. Minor subdivisions, 2015-134-MSP, an 18.67 acre parcel into parcels A and B, Ward 1, District 3. The owner, Janice Accardo. Surveyor, LS Land Surveying, LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason for this public hearing is that both of the proposed parcels do not have the required lot width requirements for road frontage. The owner is proposing to create two parcels from one 18.67 acre parent parcel. Both parcels abut a public roadway known as Veronica Boulevard, but only at the stub end of said road, which only affords each parcel with approximately 20 foot of frontage. Parish Code requires a 300-foot road frontage based on the A1 zoning classification that this property is. However, based on the facts that the property will be re-subdivided to two 9-acre-plus parcels, each with little chance of further development of the property unless the property were to be rezoned to a lesser density classification, the staff would not object to the commission approving this request, subject to the granting of a waiver of the front footage requirements would require a 2/3 majority vote of the membership of the commission, which is 8 members, in order to approve, pursuant to Section 40-100, waiver of regulations of subdivision ordinance 499.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak in favor?
Good evening. My name is Lincoln Case, 605 South Vermont, Covington, Louisiana. This is a 18-plus acre piece at the end of Veronica Boulevard, and basically we just want to divide it into two pieces. So if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Staff, I've got a question on the waiver. You say we need a waiver because they don't have frontage of at least 300 feet?
That's correct. The A1 zoning requires a 300-foot road frontage. Because the property ends at a stub end of a roadway, there's only 20 foot of frontage technically on for each property.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand that because it looks like Lot A and Lot B on this plat from just above where it says 60 feet on Veronica Boulevard. There are markers that look like it goes from one marker to the next, to the next, to the fourth, and it's 200 feet, 53 feet, and 118 feet. So wouldn't all of that be considered the frontage for parcel A? Why is that?
If you look at the cross-hatched area that abuts the property to the south end, that is the right-of-way. The right-of-way is only 60 feet wide, approximately 60 feet wide. So the way they have it set up, there's no way you could have a frontage of 300 feet because the road at dead ends, or the right-of-way dead ends into the property. As a matter of fact, they'll have to actually improve the roadway at the end of that cul-de-sac that you see to get access to their properties, and they'll have to cross that creek with, I guess, some kind of a bridge or culverts or something to get access to it.
Okay, so parcel A and parcel B both are north of that creek?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. What is south of that creek? There's different
South of the creek is
parcels?
Beverly Place subdivision. It's a small.
Oh, okay, okay.
yes.
Okay, I understand that now.
I'm sorry, Barber Place, yeah.
Okay.
Not Beverly Place, Barber.
It wasn't clear to me on this. Okay.
Commissioner Willie?
So right now, the 18 acres have roughly 60-foot road frontage.
Approximately, yeah.
And
It's just
that's
an
it.
approximate figure, yeah. And like I say, the
So
staff
this-
doesn't
you
have
can't
any big
create
issues
300
with
feet
it,
out of
yeah.
the- out of
They're
the
very
60.
limited in what they can do with the property.
I move for approval with the waiver.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Willie to approve, second by Commissioner Richard. Commissioner Dougherty.
Yes, Ron, on the second paragraph, the third sentence there, you've got lesser density. It's an A1, how can you go to a lesser density? Shouldn't that be more density?
I'm sorry, it should be more density, that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
With the, a question for staff. With the two parcels separated, 9 and 9.3, once they extend Veronica Boulevard, they'll have to continue that street into parish standards?
No, once they enter into the property, because they technically both have public road frontage, they'll have to improve it up to their property line, but once they enter into their own properties, they can create a private common driveway.
Okay, so would it be a good recommendation for them, that once they do that, to put private drive at the entrance so that people just don't drive all the way back, or is that a requirement?
It's not a requirement.
Okay.
It's more of a preference, but not a requirement.
All right, thank you.
Any further comments by the commission? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Willie to approve, second by Commissioner Richard. Please vote. The waiver is required. We do have more than 8 votes. Motion carries. 2015-135-MSP. Parcels A, B, and C into parcels A1, B1, C1, D1, and E1. Ward 1, District 4. The owner, Katrina Sherry, surveyor, John G. Cummings and Associates, Inc. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Mike Lorino. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Reasons for a public hearing is that one of the parcels being proposed is being accessed with a private driveway. The owner is proposing to create 5 parcels from an existing 9.896 acre minor subdivision parcel. Of the 5 parcels proposed, only one of the parcels does not have public road frontage. Therefore, since a private drive will provide access only to one parcel, said drive is not required to be built to a parish standard pursuant to Section 40-045 minimum standards for a private drive of subdivision ordinance 499. Therefore, since the request complies with all code requirements, the staff has no objections to the proposed minor subdivision request.
Thank you. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Katrina Cherie. I'm the owner. I live at 149 Highway 1077 in Madisonville. Thank you for listening to me tonight. And E1 is actually where I live. And the reason why it didn't have public access is because for several decades, this property in the front was a home and in the back was a retreat center. It used to be Four Winds Foundation. And now the front house is being rented out and I live in the back. And it would be more desirable to have whoever lives or rents the front house not to have someone driving always right past their house. And likewise, for me living in the back, it would be wonderful if I could have a driveway that would not go through my tenant's yard practically. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none at this time, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I think with the minimum parcel size of being 1 and she has 5 under A3 is fine. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, second by Commissioner Matthews. Any further comment? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries. 2015-136-MSP, lots 1A1 and 5 into lots 1A1-A, 1A1-B, Ward 4, District 5. The owner, N59 Ventures, LLC, surveyor Randall W. Brown and Associates, Inc., Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Reichert Taladano. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason for a public hearing is that one of the proposed parcels does not meet the 1 acre minimum for a minor subdivision. The owner is proposing to reconfigure 2 lots within an existing minor subdivision into a 8.747 acre parcel and a .679 acre parcel. One of the proposed parcels, Lot 1A1-B, does not meet the 1 acre minimum requirement for lot size. However, the commission has approved at least 2 similar requests within this minor subdivision prior due to the fact that this minor subdivision is a commercial development. Therefore, if the commission decides to approve this request, a waiver of the regulations are required in order to approve this minor subdivision request relative to the lot size for that lot mentioned, where a 2/3 majority vote of the commission is required, 8 members, in order to approve pursuant to Section 40-100, waiver of regulations of subdivision regulatory ordinance 499.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment in favor?
Good evening. Jason Riebert, Gulf States Real Estate Services. I'm here tonight on behalf of North 59 Ventures, LLC. The case before you this evening is revision to the minor subdivision for the Little Creek project, proposing 2 new lots of record, Lot 1A1-A and 1A1-B. As staff has mentioned, a waiver is requested and required for this subdivision due to Lot 1A1-B being under 1 acre in size. The Commission has considered and approved 2 previous requests associated with this project within the last 2 years for the Domino's tract and the Smoothie King tract, which you see on Highway 59. We would, again, greatly appreciate your consideration of this matter this evening. Here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty?
Yes, as far as the drainage on this lot, is there a retention pond that you'll be taking the drainage into? Or are you going to have a retention pond on this small parcel?
Yeah, this small parcel actually will be tying into the master drainage system for the area, which was constructed as part of the Church of the King expansion a couple years prior. The drainage studies have all been previously approved by the Department of Engineering, and those obviously will be checked as part of the building permit process for this particular project.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Lauren?
Question real quick. If you look at the entirety of the development, it looks to me like we've approved 1, 2, 3, and this would be the 4th parcel to be built on.
Technically the 3rd in terms of a waiver. Lots 4A, lots 1A2 were under the 1 acre requirement for a minor subdivision.
What I'm saying, if you look at the entirety of the property.
Correct. That is correct.
And my only question is it reasonable to expect that we're going to see the rest of this property come back before us in parcels?
Well, at this point, as Ron has mentioned, there is no ability to create or re-subdivide this property any further without going through the major subdivision process.
Okay.
Which we will do so at the appropriate time if needed. Thank you.
Commissioner Matthews?
Got one quick question. I assume we're going to see another fast food outlet here?
At this time, it's still subject to further discussion.
It looks like it would be appropriate.
It would be a good fit here, but what we're working with right now is not a fast food.
Okay. Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Matthews to approve, a second by Commissioner Davis.
With the waiver.
Yes. With the waiver. Thank you. We have just to restate, we have a motion by Commissioner Matthews with the waiver to approve, second by Commissioner Davis. Please vote. Motion carries. 2015-137-MSP, an 11.571 acre parcel into parcels A1 and A2, Ward 3, District 5. The owner, Fritz Developers, LLC, Surveyor, Randall W. Brown and Associates, Inc., Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Reichert Taladano. Staff.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, this is a large acreage commercial parcel that's located at the far western end of River Highlands Boulevard. The reason why the public hearing is required is that one of the parcels is being accessed by a private drive. The owner is proposing to create two parcels from one parent parcel, and since a private drive will only access one of the parcels, which is parcel A2, said drive is not required to be built to a parish standard pursuant to section 40-045, minimum regulation standards for a private drive of subdivision ordinance 499. Furthermore, since this request complies with all code requirements, the staff has no objections to the proposed minor subdivision.
Anyone from the public who wishes to speak in favor?
Yes, sir.
If you please state your name and address.
My name is Lawrence DeToro. I live at 121 Fox Run Drive in Mandeville. We would like to divide the property, and I believe everything should be in order, from what I was told. I don't know what else you would ask me of me.
That's fine. That is fine. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty.
Yes, on this parcel A1, you have a grave site.
Yes, sir.
What's going to be done with the graves? Are they going to continue to be there, and then
They're going to
fence
continue to
around
be there.
protected?
Yes, sir. We're going to do a like a garden around it, but we're not going to accent it. They're very old grave sites, and we're going to do an assisted living project there. So what we will do is put some nice gardens around there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other? Commissioner Randall?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Randolph to approve, second by Commissioner Matthews. Any further comment? Please vote. Motion carries. Petitions require, petitions requests. Entering the Tammany Trace, we have none. Revocation, closings, review. Revocation 16-01-001. Revocation of portion of F Street located in Alexisville subdivision. Ward 3, District 2. The applicant, Steve Baumgartner and John T.M. Baldwin. The surveyor, Land Surveying LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Dennis Sharp. Staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicants are proposing to revoke a portion of F Street in order to assimilate said properties into their respective adjacent businesses and or property. The staff believes that the proposals is consistent relative to the Louisiana revised statutes governing the revocation of immovable property, since the right-of-way does not appear to serve any public use or benefit other than to the applicants themselves. Therefore, the staff has no objections to the proposed revocation request, subject to the applicant assimilating their portion of the rights-of-way into their adjacent properties through the parish's re-subdivision process.
Thank you. Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Marone on behalf of Mr. Baldwin, your petitioner in this particular matter. This right-of-way is one of the old unopened and unimproved rights-of-way of Alexisville subdivision. It parallels Highway 190. To orient you, it is in the part of Highway 190 that is just south of Covington. It's south of Harrison Avenue. It's behind the existing Baldwin Motors. Well, it's adjacent to the existing Baldwin Motors and the Three Rivers shopping center that is in that location. Between those two, you may recall that there is a restaurant that is unoccupied right now, and this right-of-way actually is behind the hardware store, Steve's Hardware Store, and that restaurant. As best we can tell, F Street to the north and to the south has already been revoked, because if you extended beyond the area to be revoked, you would run into Baldwin Motor service bays or the shopping center to the south. So this is a right-of-way that provides no utility. It doesn't go anywhere. Your petitioners in this matter own all of the property around it. They are prepared to assimilate it, as Mr. Keller has suggested. With that said, we'd respectfully request your approval for the revocation so we can pursue that assimilation process.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Lauren.
Yes, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Lauren to approve, second by Commissioner Casabon. Commissioner Dougherty.
Yes, Paul, this revocation is the 40 by 240 feet, the whole street?
That is correct.
Okay, and since John Baldwin is part of the Baldwin Motors, there's no problem with the east side of that portion?
No, they are one and the same.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments by the commission? We have a motion by Commissioner Lauren to approve, a second by Commissioner Casabon. Please vote. Motion carries. Re-subdivision review, we have none. Dormant subdivision review, we have none. Tentative subdivision review, we have none. Preliminary subdivision review, 2015-125-PP. Whispering Forest, Ward 1, District 3, developer owner Bob Hessen, engineer Arrow Engineering, Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. Staff?
Preliminary plans and hydrologic study have been reviewed by this office and an inspection of the site was made. It's recommended that the preliminary submittal be approved subject to the following: water and sewer comments, plans and specifications for the construction of the project's water distribution lines and sewage collection lines have not yet been approved by the Department of Health and Hospitals as required. No work order will be issued until the submitted plans and specifications are approved by DHH. Provide the utility company with a set of water and sewer plans. Move the proposed fire hydrant to in front of Lot 3 and add another fire hydrant near the cul-de-sac. Sheet C3, the 8-inch tapping sleeve and 2-inch flush valve do not appear to be shown in the correct location. Revise. A funded maintenance obligation in the amount of $10,000 is required in accordance with Subdivision Ordinance 499, Section 40061.08, funded letters of credit for existing parish roads to ensure the repair of any damage to the parish roads resulting from construction in connection with the subdivision. Mandatory developmental fees will be required at final subdivision submittal in accordance with Ordinance 499, since no public hearing was held prior to January 1st, 2005.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak in favor?
Hey, I'm Darrell with Arrow Engineering. Happy New Year. We will revise our sewer and water plans and get them back to Jay, and then he'll be submitting them to the DHH, and so we'll be doing those things to get approval.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? This time I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, Darrell? I see you're in flood zone A. You're in flood zone A according to
Yes, some of it.
A what? I mean, are all the homes going to be raised?
Well, they'll be to the base flood elevation, whatever that is.
What is the elevation out there?
In most cases, it's very close. The ground elevation is very close to base flood.
Okay.
And so when you build, most cases you build up a foot or two for the pad, you're above base flood.
So that with that 1 foot, you'll be able to go ahead and build on slabs?
Right.
Okay.
Commissioner Casabon.
Yes, Daryl, this is the one we talked about, that they were so concerned about the drainage, that this is the whole, you've got one whole acre of the detention. Is it, is this to hold it? Did you do, it's like a pond, or are we retaining it, or?
Right. Yeah,
Okay,
it's,
so we've got one whole acre. So that was one of their concerns, the people's concern, and that area is very low. That this is what you were talking about, being able to alleviate some of that flooding by putting that much area in to detain it. So
Right.
looks good. I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Casabon to approve, second by Commissioner Willie. Commissioner Dougherty.
Daryl, excuse my ignorance here, but on the drainage plat on the, I believe it's the east side, I don't have it completely open, but there's a series of vertical hash marks going down and then coming across the retention pond. And up on Joyner-Weimer Road, there's another box that has angled hash marks. What does that represent? I don't see it on the...
I'm pretty sure that's the existing drive.
Existing what?
The existing driveway to Mr. Hessen's property. That's what that is.
Okay, I can...
And so that's going to be, that'll be removed, and he'll get to his house through the subdivision.
Okay, and a lot of this is designated wetlands, so you've got the Corps has issued a permit?
No,
So that's the next step, you've got to get,
yeah, that's in the process.
that's in the process.
Right.
Okay. On the restrictive covenants, item 5, the detention pond is to be owned and maintained by the homeowners association.
Yes.
So these, there will be a mandatory homeowners association on this subdivision?
Yes.
Okay. And you've got the word mobile homes on item 6. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but everything's moving away from the term mobile homes going to manufactured housing now. It's kind of a play on words, but I think that's
Yeah.
the 2015, 2016 terminology.
I still call them trailers.
Pardon?
I still call them trailers.
Well, I can go for that too. That's right. All right.
But
Thank you,
that's boilerplate, those restrictive covenants that have been around here forever and ever. I guess maybe we should say mobile home / manufactured home, I guess.
Okay, but in another section someplace, there is a statement that there will be a mandatory homeowners association.
Yeah, if there's not, I mean, it's Mr. Hessen's intent to do that, so if we can clarify that on the final plat, if, you know.
Okay.
But that's the intent.
Because, I mean, if you don't, I know that pond's not going to get maintained, and those ponds have to be maintained. So
Right.
be sure that statement is on there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jay, did you have a comment?
I was just going to say, I think the mobile home issue and the restrictive covenants that's how it's stated in the parish ordinance, that we have that's why it's like that.
Thank you. Any further comments? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Casabon to approve, a second by Commissioner Willie. Please vote. Motion carries. 2015-126-PP, Gust Island, Parcel D3, Ward 1, District 4. Developer owner, Mick INT LLC. Engineer, Kelly McHugh and Associates, Inc. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Mike Lorino. Staff?
Preliminary plans and hydrologic study have been reviewed by this office, and an inspection was made of the site. It's recommended that the preliminary submittal be approved, subject to the following comments: sewer and water. Plans and specifications for the construction of the project's water distribution lines and sewer collection lines have not yet been approved by the Department of Health and Hospitals as required. No work order will be issued until the submitted plans and specifications are approved by DHH. A funded maintenance Obligation in the amount of $10,000 is required in accordance with Subdivision Ordinance 499, Section 40.061.08, funded letters of credit for existing parish roads to ensure the repair of any damage to the parish roads resulting from construction in connection with the subdivision. No mandatory developmental fees will be required at final subdivision submittal in accordance with Ordinance 499 since a public hearing was held prior to January 1st, 2005.
Mr. Shane.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm in Covington, representing the developer in connection with his preliminary subdivision application. We're in full concurrence with staff comments, which I think are self-explanatory. If any of you have any questions, I'll be glad to address them.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, excuse me, in opposition or in favor?
I'll let you decide.
All right. Wish to comment?
Let me begin by, well,
Please state your name and address.
Christopher Snow, 301 Morning Dove Lane, Madisonville, Louisiana, in Gust Island Forest Division. Let me begin by apologizing. Apparently, this is the wrong week for PUD disputes, but I feel that you guys are the same guys that would have heard that last week. So I have a couple of concerns. One, the developer and the neighbors and residents back in 2012 had a long, ongoing good dialect regarding the PUD, the changes that were made back then, and a PUD was provided to the residents. And on that PUD, you know, we had lot sizes and everything was decided on, green space was discussed, so forth and so on. Fast forward to now, we see parcel D3. According to the PUD that we had, there was never a D3. So I understand that the board allows administrative changes if, you know, the lot sizes are going to be changed for the larger, or if there's not really a large change in the layout of the home sites, I guess you would say. And I understand that. My concern, though, is that, like I said, when we're issued a PUD and we're given as homeowners the future of our neighborhood, and the parcel names are changed without the residents knowing. This parcel, for instance, was I-1, according to the PUD that we had. We're on track for the scheduled development or whatever they had proposed back then, but the fact that the parcel name changes just happened without any information to the homeowners was a little concerning. And I've talked to Mr. Shane, and hopefully we'll be able to resolve that. I would also like to express my concern for the green spaces, which, according to the drawings that I just saw today, continue to be taken out of the overall development. And I thought back in 2012, 2011, when we started this project, or at least reorganizing the home sites, that the green space was important to the council. And like I said, it's going away every set of drawings we see. And I think that's about it. So like I said, I'm not against it. I agree with moving forward. I like that the home sites are actually getting a little bit larger than the original drawing, but my concern is that the administrative changes aren't made public necessarily without a public records request, and if the developer and the council doesn't let us know as residents, we'd have no idea what's actually going on as far as the development goes. So those are my concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in opposition or to comment in general? If not, Mr. Shane, care to clarify or rebut?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I had a nice conversation with Mr. Snow this evening, and he and I have met and discussed this project in the past. And again, I guess for the record, as it relates to the preliminary subdivision approval that we seek this evening, his comments are inappropriate. That doesn't mean they're not meaningful, though. And so to make sure this board or commission understands, I think, the substance of what Mr. Snow has suggested, When the PUD was amended, we actually reduced density, we reduced the number of lots, we increased the size of the lots, and that required a reallocation or relocation of some of the green space. And as you know, within the code, as it relates to the PUD side of it, the zoning, not for you guys, but if you stay within the parameters of minor amendments to the PUD, you're able to do those things administratively. So where I think we can do a better job is to try to have better communication with the homeowners. And I've told Mr. Snow that I'm going to talk to Mr. McHugh and Mr. Intravia, and that kind of works both ways, meaning that maybe perhaps we should be communicating with the homeowners on occasion, but likewise, they could perhaps be checking with us every 2 or 3 months to find out if there's any changes that are contemplated with regard to the plan. Because again, the things that have been done, I think Mr. Snow would agree, have been positive as it relates to the quality of the development. So hopefully we have had good conversation tonight, both prior to the hearing and also at this podium, and we will try to have better communication with the group going forward.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. Mr. Snow, do you wish to make any further comment?
I guess the only thing, my concern with what he said was with regards to the green space and the PUD as drawn, I don't think you'd be able to deny, based on the drawings that you have today, that the green space is not there anymore. I mean, it's not that we've just made the lot sizes a little bit larger just to reduce the density overall of the development. You've done that and sacrificed the green space at the same time. So, that's all.
Yes, Mr. Shane.
Perhaps as it relates to this subphase, he might be correct, but as you know, we still have to meet the standard that the parish has established for green space for the PUD. And my point is simply this: if the green space is not precisely in the same footprint that it was in 2012, it is somewhere else in order to be code compliant. And that's either been approved by you as a zoning commission through the public hearing process, or if in fact it was effectuated in part through a minor amendment to the PUD administratively. One of the two, the green space is code compliant.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to close it to the public and bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty.
Mr. Shane, since this is a part of Augusta Island PUD, there was mandatory homeowners association in place at that time, and I'm taking it that this will still carry over into this phase as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dougherty to approve, second by Commissioner Loren. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, Mr. Shane?
Yes, sir.
Once these are all built out, then you'll just continue on through Fox Sparrow Loop and go to the next future phase? Is that the idea? Does it, with staff, does it need to be a cul-de-sac or something there in case it all gets built out and they have to back up to the garbage truck or something before that's built out? You know what I'm talking about? At the end of Fox Sparrow Loop and at the end of, I guess Ring Neck Drive wouldn't matter too much because you got Scarlet Tangier Drive, but would they need to build some sort of a turnaround here? Okay, I'm just questioning it. Thank you.
Any further?
And why not? Why not? Can anybody answer that? I mean, why not? If they just stop the road there, how vehicles are going to come in and get lost, or they're going to have to turn into somebody's driveway and come back? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'd have to check on that for you. I can't answer that right now.
Mr. Shane, can you assist me with this one?
I have to tell you, I honestly don't know what the plan is for that stub out as it relates to this phase.
Okay.
But my guess is that I think under your code, it's either going to have to be cul-de-sac permanently, cul-de-sac temporarily.
And that's,
Okay.
it's because this is a
So
preliminary.
it will be that way.
And that's
This is-
typically what
okay.
we would do until we continue it.
Right,
So
this is not final approval, this is
Right.
preliminary
So once the
approval.
final, I'll see something there.
we're going to have an answer to that question when we bring you the final plat, because we know we're going to have to be code compliant.
Okay.
This will only give us authority, as you know, to construct the infrastructure.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Any further comments? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Dougherty to approve, second by Commissioner Lauren. Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Final subdivision review, 2015-98-FP, Wadsworth, Ward 4, Districts 5 and 7. Developer owner, the ASB Fund and Wadsworth Estates LLC. Surveyor, R.W. Krebs LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Mike Lorino and the Honorable Jacob Groby. Postponed at the December 8th, 2015 meeting. Staff?
Periodic inspections have been made by this office during construction, and the final inspection was made on December 28th, 2015. The inspection disclosed that the asphalt road is constructed, road shoulders need to be constructed, roadside ditches need to be regraded, and sewer and water infrastructure needs to be completed. Since the infrastructure has not been completed, the developer is requesting that a performance obligation be established for a period of 6 months covering the work required. See attached tabulation of items not completed. Should the Planning Commission approve the request for final approval, a performance obligation will be required for the infrastructure to be completed. Staff has reviewed the engineer's calculations and agrees with its contents. It's recommended that a performance obligation be established in the amount of $183,000 for a period of 6 months. No warranty obligation is required at this time and will be established upon the completion of the infrastructure. No mandatory developmental fees are required since a public hearing was held prior to January 1st, 2005.
Mr. LaSalle?
I'm Shelby LaSalle. I'm here representing the owners, ASB Fund and Wadsworth LLC. At your last meeting on December 8th, we had a discussion about a list of items of 29 items to date. When we made the submission on December 11th, we had that reduced to 8 items, and to date, there's about 4 items left to be done, and of those 4 items left to be done, 3 of which are in construction progress as we speak. And item 1 will not be done because the owners desire to exceed the parish standards and do concrete curb and gutter and subsurface drainage. Any questions?
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you. Color Hernandez. I guess I have a question. It was just stated that they're going to go to concrete, and that's why apparently the item 1 is not being pursued at this time. If just for the public's sake, in your I'd just like to compare the items that were presented last time and this time for what's being called item 1, and that's the Wadsworth Parkway. Last time it had reshaped roadside ditches, and it had by linear feet and square yards, but the total, and then 4-foot shoulder on each side of the roadway, medium barrier curbs, the total was $67,500. Now there's a lump sum for that of $60,000. So I guess my question is has something been done? Apparently not, but maybe because of oil prices, which has a lot to do with this work, maybe that's why it's gone from $67,500 to $60,000 for this. And then if it is in fact going to be concrete, I would think that it would be more expensive to to do the work than the roadway itself, which doesn't appear to be on those items on here. So I'm just wondering about that. And I guess overall, the development, as we know, and it's that one roadway that's in there. But if you look at the overall scheme that was approved, there were roadways going from this. And I guess it was touched on last month when this was discussed that why is it that there aren't any other roadways being as part of this final approval, and I guess that's again a question that I have. Why isn't there any other roadways that are being part of the final approval? And if the answer is because you don't have to have it, you just have to have that one basic one, then I guess that will answer it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to either comment or comment in opposition? Seeing none. Mr. LaSalle, we wish to rebut.
The reason why there have been roadways eliminated because there was a PUD amendment that has been approved, and the project has also been rezoned, and that's why there's only one roadway at this time. And as it relates to the 60 and 67,000, we have done some grading and dressing of the ditches to make them functional. We didn't complete them because we're going to come back and actually put subsurface drainage in those ditches and a concrete curb and gutter, not a new concrete roadway. And that's the reason why there's a slight reduction from 67 to 60,000.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, care to rebut? Any further comment?
You know, for someone myself who is very familiar with this procedure and very familiar with what was approved in the past, it's interesting that it's being depicted as, and I wish I would have brought copies for everyone to see what the last revision was on here. And let me tell you, there are still roadways that are out there on this, and I guess I'm kind of surprised by the response, but maybe this is, I don't know, the final to me means that all the infrastructure is in place or will be in place. And I guess I still don't see that when you look at the overall plans, 160 acres that we're talking about. And of course, we all see, those of us who drive past it daily, see the 65-acre sign that's for sale that's been up there for a long time. And so, but I'm still assuming that we're still talking about the 160 acres and not the 65 that somehow is no longer part of the equation. I believe that there's still infrastructure that needs to be considered, and I would just wish that you would give that some consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments from the public? If not at this time, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Matthews.
Last month, we decided to postpone this because of the vast number of items that were left undone. That has been significantly reduced, and I'm glad to see that. There are some things that are of concern that still need to be done, and I don't like to see those. The idea that there's only one road there and there's a great deal of infrastructure that needs to be put in. The typical subdivision we see, residential and also commercial, you have lots of roadways going to lots of parcels or lots, and the infrastructure is there, the streets are there, there is water and sewerage and electricity to each of those lots. What we have here is quite different than what we normally see. I don't like the way it looks. I drove out there yesterday, and it does not look anywhere near complete. It's not dressed. It's kind of a wilderness out there. But it's 5 lots, and we have roads to 5 lots. If this was a residential subdivision, we wouldn't have roads going to or through each of these lots. This isn't a residential subdivision. While it's not pretty, all the lots have the necessary infrastructure. As perplexing as that is, I think it's now true. I'm concerned with one thing, staff, and you can help me with. If we're going to be putting concrete streets and subsurface drainage, if that's the plan, don't we have to have a warranty obligation or a performance obligation for that, rather than the roadside ditches?
I believe that that's the roadside ditches meet the parish requirements. If they want to go above and beyond and do subsurface drainage, then they can do that. And once they do that, if a warranty obligation needs to be established, then we can do that. But right now, that's not
the performance
not
obligation.
required.
What we have only covers what the parish absolutely minimally requires, not what they plan to do.
Well,
Is that correct?
and as far as I know, we don't have the plans for that. They haven't shown any subsurface drainage. It's ditches.
So, but all we require for a performance obligation is what the parish, the minimum standard that the parish requires. That's what we have a performance obligation. If they're going to do more,
Right, that's what the
good.
right.
But
That's
we don't
exactly
do a performance obligation for that.
right.
Dave has his light on, and I'll postpone what I'm going to say till Dave's finished.
Commissioner Dougherty?
Thank you. Mr. Sal, you mentioned that there were 4 items out of the 8 that have been done, leaving 4 open, which one of them is item 1. What are the other 3 items that have not been done?
We haven't, the pumps are on site for the sewer pump station. CLECO is hooking the pump station up as we speak, and we didn't want to put the pumps in the station because of vandalism, and that's one of the items.
I can't believe we got vandalism in St. Tammany Parish.
As a matter of fact, they shoot up the wastewater treatment plant. We had to armor parts of the plant. A discharge pipe coming from the wastewater treatment plant is about 70, 80 feet of it's not done, and also some of the east side ditches on the main major ditches on the east side are in the process of being redressed. The banks are being redressed. Those types of things.
Okay.
And we haven't put the filter media in the plant because we don't want to put that in there to get caked up and clogged up before we turn the plant on.
Okay, all right.
But as someone noted, all the sewer lines and water lines and streets and drainage are in place to all 5 parcels.
Okay, now, once one of these parcels is sold, is the developer going to put some additional streets in based on the bill of sale and everything, or are they going to?
Well, it's kind of like you have one of those parcels are near 100 acres. If Associated Groceries was going there, that would be the requirement or the choice of that particular user of that large parcel. The developer is not, to answer your question.
Okay, but like on parcel 1, I think that's the 92 point something acres.
Yeah, so that's what I'm referring to.
If that is sold in a single entity, but there's like 10 industrial warehouses or manufacturing facilities going in there, then somebody's going to put in some additional streets and so forth to access those. Yes, you have a street that's accessing parcel 1.
Right.
Okay, but if there's something back here on the, I'm going to say the northwest corner, just because I don't have the map open all the way, but if something goes back there, then somebody's going to have to ante up and put some streets and
Yeah, I guess the answer is yes. If you'd want to call them streets, it's like in Pinnacle, the shopping area, there's access drives going around that are access to various parcels within that parcel. So that would be the responsibility of the owner of that parcel at the particular time, just like it is in Pinnacle Shopping Center.
okay, and then it's going to be somebody's responsibility to contact the Department of Engineering to come up with a set of plans and so forth, and also get their approval and on an inspection basis, right?
Exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Richard?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I understand what they're trying to accomplish here. Essentially, we've got large parcels that gives maximum flexibility to industry that may want to come to our community. I don't have any questions or concerns. I also understand why perhaps we haven't finished certain components of the subdivision here, because we're going to be making some improvements, and it makes no sense to put something in and tear it out and waste money. With that in mind, I move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Richard to approve, a second by Commissioner Lauren. Commissioner Matthews.
I just have one further question to staff. If they sell parcel one and one entity buys it and they decide to put in driveways to their plant or whatever it is, will that have to come before the parish to approve all that?
Yeah, they'll have to get a commercial building permit, and it'll have to be reviewed.
Okay. When I bought my house, well, bought my lot and built a house on it, did my builder have to come get a approval
Yes.
from the parish?
Yes.
Okay. So it would be just the same?
Yep.
Really no difference. And that's what we're doing here. We're going to be selling the lots like the developer of my subdivision did, and their contractor is going to be building the house.
That's correct. It's just on a much larger scale.
Okay.
Your small driveway leading from the road to your house might be a large driveway, parking lot, whatever for this larger parcel.
Okay.
Commissioner Lauren.
Yes, sir. Could I ask just a couple of questions to make sure, to kind of build on what Mr. Richard said? Parcel 1 is a large piece of land, and as I understand it, it's at this point in time not sold to anybody.
That's correct.
It wouldn't make a lot of sense to go in there and put in roads when you don't know what's going in there.
That's correct.
If you went in and built a plant, or hypothetically, you could come back and say, we want to divide parcel 1 into parcel 1A and 1B. I mean, if you go in and go beyond the rudimentary development, it would only be to tear it out if it didn't force fit what
Yes,
somebody
sir.
came along with. So it makes complete sense to do it the way that you've got it done, to me.
Are there any further comments or questions by the commission? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Richard to approve, a second by Commissioner Lauren. Please vote. Motion carries. Old business, entering Parish right-of-way, 19th Avenue, Ward 3, District 5. Request to enter Parish right-of-way for the purpose of gaining access to property. The debtor, TJ&C Real Estate Holdings, LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Reichert Taladano. Request for an extension of time to produce documentation. Staff?
This entered the parish right-of-way, specifically unopened portion of 19th Avenue in Alexisville. The required action is to extend the adoption date to today, thereby extending the 6-month submittal of documentation to 7/12/16, and the completion date to 1/12/18.
Is there anyone from the public, excuse me, who wishes to comment in favor? Anyone who wishes to comment in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public, bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the extension, but I have some questions as well. Do I go forward with the questions or wait
To
for
who?
the second?
He would have to address it to staff, I guess.
Okay. The original was adopted on February the 10th, 2015, for 6 months, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that takes us to August, right?
Okay.
So, under the action required, extension from date to 1/12/16, where is that, how is that date being brought into play? Because if I go at 6 month intervals, the next extension date would not be until February 10th, from August to February. So why is this extend adoption date to 1/12/16? I'm not following the calculation.
I believe that it says the time is expired for the petitioner to furnish the documentation, and therefore if you
Wait a minute. Say
extend
that
the
again,
adoption
Jay.
date to
Say
today.
that again? I'm not hearing you.
The time has expired. Their current time frame has expired.
Okay.
So if you approve it tonight, then they'll have another 6 months from tonight.
Okay, so we're just not going to worry about the time in between while it was sitting, quote unquote, dormant.
I believe so.
All right. We've been asked time to time to approve stuff for 6 months. And I believe we were told that it was the staff's responsibility to follow up on these and be sure that it was either completed, the work was completed, or it came to us as an extension. What happened here?
I don't know right now. I'd have to check on that.
But it should have been somebody in the organization, the staff's organization, engineering should have.
Right. It should have been caught before it
come up
expired
with
and
this
extended before it
presented
expired.
to us for a further extension or something.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Matthews.
What would be the result of us denying this?
What
would happen?
They would have to start over. They wouldn't be able to continue forward with, so far they haven't provided all the documentation that's needed for them to enter the parish right away, but they wouldn't have permission to enter the parish right away if you didn't adopt it right now, so then they would have to come back next month or whenever they wanted and petition to enter the parish right away.
Okay, what have they done now? What work have they?
Right, I don't have the file on me to know what they have and what they haven't done.
Okay, so within the last 5 months, we don't know whether they've done anything but ask to enter the parish right away.
Right.
Okay, so if we deny this, they're going to have to come to you all and start over.
Yeah, they're going to have to request to enter the right of way again.
It would seem like that might be the way to get them to get off the dime or forget the project, rather than continuously extending this 6 months at a time, maybe forever.
Right. I don't know all the circumstances involved in this case, but
Well, I
could be
think-
one way to go.
I think it'd be better to deny it myself. But we have a motion, don't have a second yet, though.
Any other comments? Second by Commissioner Casabon. We have a motion by Commissioner Dougherty to approve. Second by Commissioner Casabon. Please vote. Motion carries. Is there any other business to come in front of this commission? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.